Well, a week 4 of The Bachelor. Once again, I think I had a moment where Jesse walked into a room and I assumed that he was Clayton. And overall, this is just starting to feel like Peter's season all over. Clayton is just such a pushover, and the producers are absolutely loving it. Anyways, let's get into the episode and get into Shrimp Gate. Every show just only gets better when you just add shrimp into the mix. There's never been a show in any capacity that hasn't got immediately better as soon as you get some shrimp on camera. Even better, people or animals eating shrimp, of course, people are gonna eat that up. It's absolutely amazing, absolutely incredible. So Shanae, her only goal here was to screw over Elizabeth. And as soon as Elizabeth's gone, you know that Shanae is gonna do this exact same tactic to somebody else. Why? Because it worked. Should you say whatever you want about Shanae? She's obviously good at getting her way and having her way all the time. And repeatedly we've seen Shanae say she's here to win, which is code for she is not here to fall in love. She is here to win. Her goal is to get clout, get famous, and potentially get on Bachelor in Paradise. And right now, I think that she's absolutely been successful in all three. I love that moment when you could see that there was a camera guy just waiting to do a shrimp close-up, just absolutely waiting to just zoom that camera in on some shrimp. This whole thing is such a joke, and it's not going away, and it's probably going to be with us all next episode as well. Shanae, her whole argument, her whole story and point clings on some random detail that Elizabeth doesn't remember about being in the hot tub when Shanae offered shrimp. And because of that, Elizabeth is a liar because she said one thing that was incorrect. Elizabeth probably genuinely does not remember where she was when Shanae tried to offer people shrimp. I don't even think Elizabeth looked at Shanae when she was offering shrimp. So, why would Elizabeth even remember where she was at that moment? Just totally absurd, totally ridiculous. And in the end, Shanae gets a rose, Elizabeth does not. And in that moment, I would have loved to see some of the women step forward and right in that moment say, hey, if you want to give her a rose, you can take mine back. And I think it would have been interesting if we had 4 or 5 women step forward and say that. Then all of a sudden, maybe Clayton is actually having to reconsider everything that has been going on. And on top of that, at some point, why can't production just show Clayton some of the diary room clips? They're damning. They're absolutely damning. And they make Shanae look like an absolute fool. But hey, Clayton doesn't get to see those. And Shanae gets to say. So Elizabeth goes home along with 2 other women who I don't even know who they were. If anybody out there, if you could comment who those women were, I don't know. I saw them both and I was not the faintest clue who either of these people are. Yeah, that's our rose ceremony. From here, we learn that everybody is headed to Houston. When I think romance, the first city that comes to the tip of my tongue is Houston. I honestly think they could announce any location in the world and the women are going to be excited. It does not matter. I think a few seasons ago, they went to Cleveland and everyone was just yeah, we're going to Cleveland. It's No, like it does not matter. Like just like is there like a worse place, like a less exciting place, like a vacation destination, city of romance than Cleveland or Houston? Like I don't know. Maybe there is. I haven't been to either place, so maybe I'm bad mouthing them. And these are the romance capitals of America. And then, like, before we get to any of the dates, we had Clayton and Clarence. And I don't think we've seen Clayton more excited to see someone than he was to see Clarence. Like there's no relationship that Clayton has with any of these women that is deeper than his connection with Clarence. All right, let's jump into our first date of the week. We only actually get 2 dates this week. Shrimpgate totally wiping an entire date off of the slate for the episode tonight. Rachel's date, some horseback riding, and they seem to be trying to imply that all of a sudden Clayton's just a cowboy. And it's like, okay, I guess, like, never. Well, we talked about Shrimpgate earlier, but somebody is back here again, snooping around for more shrimp, and it's almost like that's going to be something that happens in this episode. This date, I wasn't feeling it. I really wasn't. Like, they just accidentally rode into a Texas barbecue with a full camera crew just sitting around. I'm definitely seeing attraction between the two. They're both very clearly attracted to each other, but I just don't see a connection. Like, maybe there are moments that we didn't see that they shared where they did start building that connection, but this is purely just attraction, or potentially Rachel is a master of whisper hypnosis that she's using on Clayton, because it seemed like every time they were talking, she'd just get real close and just start whispering to Clayton. And like maybe that's connection for Clayton. If somebody whispers to you, that means that you're falling in love. I really don't know. We get further into the date, and Clayton decides he's going to bring up his big concern. His big concern. And his big concern boiled down to, why are you single? Clayton, that is not a big concern. Every single person on this show is single. That is kind of the whole premise of the show. If people are coming on to this show and they're not single, that's when we have a problem. That should be a concern. Why do you have a boyfriend? That's a concern, not why are you single? And like Rachel gave her answer, and like for what the question was, she gave a good answer. But a lot of it boiled down to is that she works really hard at her career, and Clayton is cool with that. And apparently that is all you need to potentially consider to spend the rest of your life with someone. We don't know. Do they both want a family? Do they both want kids? Is the living and working arrangement going to be okay for these two? We really don't know. All we know is Rachel's really good at whispering, and Clayton's cool that she has a job. And I also love the moment where like Rachel did the fake voiceover pretending like she knew who that band was. They were like the budget Western Jonas Boys. I don't know what was going on there. For the artists, it's probably a big deal for them to get on the shows, but for The Bachelor, like, why not try to have people that we know, or just have some generic band just playing some generic country music? Like, why have just a no-name? Well, obviously they must get paid. They must get paid for those sponsors. And one thing we know about this franchise is they definitely have to be hard up for the cash, with like the millions of people watching, the millions in ad revenue, and how they can just basically do an entire season on zero budget. So Rachel gets a rose. Rachel's probably going to at least go to the final four, maybe even further. But let's move on. So we forgot about Shanae, so we might as well come back to the group date, the second date of the episode. But first, before we hop into this second group date, how about a word from our sponsor, some car you can plug a barbecue into? Like, okay, cool. Well, this date happens to be our obligatory violence date of the season, where we do a violent activity and then the losers have to go home. You know, we see this on every single season of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. Without fail, they're going to do a violence date, and they're going to try to stir up as much drama as they can by either, having people try to hurt each other, which is always a great idea, always makes for great television, right? Just people trying to hurt each other. Or, basically pit people against each other who are going to cause a lot of drama. And in this case, it is just by having Shanae there, it's drama, like just guaranteed drama, because that is all she is, living, walking, breathing drama. And like Shanae, she wants to go after Genevieve and Sierra, and I kind of got the vibe that she felt like they were just the easiest targets. They're just her next targets who she thinks that she can go after. For some reason, I think that Shanae, especially with Genevieve, thinks that Genevieve is the easy target because she's a little bit quieter. And I think that is ultimately going to be the end of Shanae's time on The Bachelor, because I got bad news for you, Shanae. You are not taking out Genevieve. She is more woman than you will ever be, and you don't have to be the loudest one at the party to get that title. So, Marlena, like, we got to talk about Marlena, right? She is a little bit more athletic than everybody else. Like, did you see her get the football and turn on the afterburners? Like, nobody was touching her. Like, I think she scored 2 of the 3 touchdowns, and probably at any point in the game, she could have just decided she wanted a touchdown, grabbed the ball, and just went and got one. So Marlena's team, the purple team, they win. Shanae's team, the blue team, they lose. And of course, that clearly means that we're not going to see Shanae again for the rest of the episode. And, my big issue with this is, like, we all know this is going to happen. We all know that Shanae is going to show up at the after party, and it completely 100% detracts from even us getting to learn or getting to see Clayton's relationship develop with these women. Like, Susie was one of the people on the date. I'm pretty sure that Susie is one of the people, like, in the final 3 later on this season that they showed from the previews. And so she's on this date. We don't even see her talk to Clayton. So, like, how are we supposed to know about their love story, especially if she ends up being the final 2 or the final pick, and like we're losing time from her to focus more on Shanae. And also, why did the blue team go back to the hotel in the football gear? Like, they didn't show up to the stadium in the football gear. Like, why couldn't they go back into the locker room, put their clothes back on? It makes a lot of sense to me, instead of sending them all home in their football gear. Sierra and Genevieve, they speak to Clayton about Shanae, and then of course Shanae shows up, and we're at a point where production just needs to show Clayton some clips of what Shanae's saying. Like, just get it over with, get this done, get this gone, because we're gonna be down to like 8 women right away here, and not have a clue who like 5 or 6 of them even are. And that just ends up ruining the whole season, because we get down to the end and we don't even care about the women. Like, we need to care. That is what makes the show great is like when we get down to the final two and we really care about both the people who are there. And this season, it's starting to look like that is not going to happen. We kind of ended the episode with Shanae saying, I don't want drama, and then immediately going and grabbing the trophy that the team won at the group date and throwing it. So, like, yeah, she wants the drama, and we want to get rid of Shanae. Yeah, I think I said Shanae's name about 100 times this recap. So if her goal was to get her name in people's mouth, she's doing a great job. But beyond that, she's just the worst. She is the worst. Get her ass off the show immediately. All right, let's call it. That's it for this week. As always, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, we'll see you later.